Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. There is something more powerful for a man than lust, and that's purpose. When a man discovers what he's truly built for, he rises above every distraction trying to pull him off course. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight from the heart. In this world full of noise, temptations, and distractions, there is one truth that stands firm. Nothing is more powerful in a man's life than the direction he chooses to walk in. When a man understands who he is, when he carries a sense of purpose, when he wakes up knowing that his life means something, lust loses its grip. Desire becomes just a moment, but purpose becomes a lifetime. The strength of a man is not measured by how many hearts he can chase, but by how many times he can walk away from what is easy and choose what is right. Real power is not found in pleasure. It is found in discipline. And when a man stands on discipline, he stands unshakable. A focused man cannot be bought by lust, swayed by a moment, or distracted by a temporary thrill. He knows that his future is too important to throw away for something that will fade in the morning. Lust burns fast and dies quickly, but a man with purpose burns slow and steady. Purpose turns a boy into a man, and a man into a leader. And let me tell you, nothing draws true respect, nothing, like a man who is serious about where he's going. Lust is loud, but purpose is powerful. Lust is exciting, but purpose is elevating. Lust drains you, builds you. When a man chooses purpose, he chooses legacy. And legacy is the only thing that outlives all of us. The expanded 500-word keynote 1. Purpose is more powerful than lust for any man. Purpose is more powerful than lust for any man because purpose is the force that shapes identity, fuels discipline, and controls desire long before passion ever has the chance to dictate decisions. When a man understands his reason for waking up in the morning, lust becomes nothing more than a temporary distraction rather than a controlling influence. Purpose provides clarity, and clarity reduces the strength of temptation. A man with direction can walk past anything that threatens to pull him off the path he is building, not because temptation is weak, but because his mission is stronger. A man driven by purpose sees life differently. He does not measure himself by fleeting moments of pleasure or validation. He measures himself by progress. He measures himself by who he is becoming. Lust wants something now. Purpose wants something meaningful. And when a man is operating in the world with meaning, he recognizes that not every invitation deserves his attention. He knows that every choice he makes affects his future, his peace, his reputation, and his ability to lead. Purpose commands maturity. It asks a man to see beyond the moment. Lust asks him to live inside the moment. One makes him grow, and the other makes him shrink. A purposeful man also understands value, both his own and that of others. Lust reduces people to objects, but purpose elevates them to partners, supporters, and pillars in a meaningful life. With purpose, a man learns self-control, and that discipline becomes a shield against actions he might later regret. He is not perfect, but he is aware. He understands that he cannot serve two masters. He cannot serve his mission and his impulses at the same time. One will rise, and the other will fall. If purpose rises, lust must fall. Purpose also strengthens a man emotionally. It builds resilience. It teaches him how to delay gratification, how to walk away from situations that threaten his integrity, and how to remain committed to the bigger picture. When a man is anchored by purpose, he operates from a place of strength rather than craving. Lust may whisper, but purpose speaks louder. It reminds him of who he is, what he stands for, and where he is going. In the end, lust burns out, but purpose builds a legacy. A man who lives by lust chases moments. A man who lives by purpose creates meaning. And meaning will always be more powerful than desire. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I've learned from life, from heartbreak, from success, and from sitting across the table, listening to thousands of people tell their stories. There's something out here more powerful than lust for a man. Lust is quick. It's loud. It's exciting for a moment. But it burns out as fast as it showed up. And too many people build their choices, their relationships, even their futures on something that doesn't last longer than a spark. What's more powerful than lust is purpose. A man with purpose walks different. He stands different. A man with purpose has direction, vision, and discipline. Lust will make him chase anything for the moment, but purpose will make him commit to something that matters. The most attractive thing in the world is not muscles, not money, not charm, it's intention. A man who knows where he's going, who he is, and what he stands for becomes unforgettable. What's more powerful than lust is respect. When a man respects a woman, her mind, her time, her boundaries, that's a different level of connection. Lust will make a man want your body. Respect will make him want to protect your heart. Lust is about taking. Respect is about honoring. And when a man gives respect, that's when a real relationship can grow. A man who respects, you will never let lust ruin what God is trying to build for you. What's more powerful than lust is responsibility. Any man can want somebody for the night, but the real strength shows in the man who takes responsibility for his actions, his words, his commitments. Lust doesn't require maturity. Responsibility does, and when a man steps into responsibility, he steps into manhood. What's more powerful than lust is character. Lust fades when the excitement fades. But character, integrity, honesty, loyalty, that stays. That's what determines how a man treats you when nobody's watching. That's what shows who he really is. A man can desire you, but if he can't respect you, protect you, or stand beside you, the desire means nothing. And finally, what's more powerful than lust is love, the real kind. Love is patient. Love is steady. Love is intentional. Lust is impatient. Lust rushes. Lust grabs. But love builds. Love stays. Love chooses. And when you find someone who chooses you not because he's lusting after your body, but because he sees your soul, your worth, your future, that's the kind of man who changes your life. So ladies and gentlemen, don't let lust trick you into thinking it's love. Don't let a temporary feeling make a permanent decision. Choose the things that last: purpose, respect, responsibility, character, and real love. That's what's truly powerful. That's what builds a life worth living. 6 key. In notes 1. Purpose is stronger than lust because it shapes a man's direction, discipline, and commitment. 2. Respect outweighs lust by creating emotional safety, honor, and true connection. 3. Responsibility reveals maturity that lust does not require. 4. Character sustains relationships beyond physical desire. 5. Emotional intelligence creates deeper bonds than surface-level attraction. 6. Genuine love endures where lust fades. Expanded keynote 1. 500 words, no subheading, no conclusion. Purpose is stronger than lust because purpose shapes a man at the deepest level, influencing how he thinks, how he acts, and how he chooses. Lust might push a man to pursue something for a moment, but purpose pulls him towards something meaningful. When a man has purpose, he wakes up with direction. He doesn't just move through life reacting to impulses or chasing whatever feels good in the moment. He moves with intention. Purpose this from a sense of identity, a sense of mission, and a sense of responsibility for what he is building. This creates a foundation that is steady, disciplined, and consistent, unlike lust, which is unpredictable and temporary. A purposeful man values progress over pleasure and long-term fulfillment over short-term excitement. Purpose has the power to organize a man's entire life. It affects who he spends time with, how he uses his energy, and what he invests his heart into. When a man is rooted in purpose, he has a vision of where he is going. That vision becomes the filter for everything he does. Lust can pull him off track, but purpose puts him back in alignment. Purpose shapes his habits, strengthens his character, and sharpens his focus. A man who knows this purpose is not easily distracted by superficial attractions because his goals require his full attention. He understands either every choice either moves him closer to his destiny or further from it. A man with purpose becomes more valuable, not because of his status, but because of his growth. He is constantly improving, learning, evolving, and elevating himself. This kind of growth naturally enhances everything around him, including his relationships. When he chooses a partner, he isn't choosing out of desire alone. He's choosing out of alignment. He seeks someone whose values, character, and dreams complement his mission. Lust cannot create that kind of connection. Only purpose can. Purpose also gives a man discipline. Discipline is the force that keeps him grounded in moments of temptation. A disciplined man knows how to control his impulses because he has something bigger to protect. Lust operates on impulse, but purpose operates on conviction. When a man is convicted about his goals, his calling, and his future, he becomes more selective. He no longer wants to waste time, emotions, or energy on things that do not serve his growth. This selectiveness makes him stronger, not colder. It makes him intentional, not distant. Purpose ultimately shapes a man's legacy. Lust can give him a moment, but purpose gives him a lifetime. Lust is loud, but purpose is powerful. Lust demands immediate gratification, but purpose demands long-term vision. And in the end, it is purpose, not lust, that determines the quality of a man's character. Relationships expanded keynote 2. 500 words, no subheading, no conclusion. Respect outweighs lust. Because respect builds a foundation that lust can never sustain. Lust is built on desire, impulse, and physical attraction. It's quick, it's intense, and it's temporary. But respect is built on understanding, value, and honor. When a man respects a woman, he sees more than her appearance. He sees her dignity, her intelligence, her strength, and her worth. Respect creates a relationship where both people feel seen, heard, and valued. Lust can only take a connection so far, but respect can take it deeper, wider, and further. A man who respects a woman listens to her. He pays attention to her thoughts, not just her body. He values her voice, not just her presence. This kind of listening creates emotional intimacy. It builds trust, safety, and openness. Lust can create closeness, but only respect can create true connection. Respect pushes a man to understand her boundaries and honor them. Instead of asking what he can get, he asks how he protects what matters to her. Lust is self-serving, but respect is selfless. Lust wants to consume, but respect wants to contribute. Respect also creates consistency. Lust can change with mood, timing, or circumstance. Desire rises and falls, but respect stays steady. A man who respects a woman treats her with honor, whether he's attracted to her in that moment or not. His behavior is not controlled by his impulses. It is controlled by his principles. When a man leads with respect, his character shows. He becomes reliable, trustworthy, and emotionally mature. These qualities make a relationship stronger than anything physical ever could. Respect plays a major role in communication. Lust can make people talk in circles, hide the truth, or avoid real conversations. But respect encourages honesty. A man who respects a woman tells her the truth, even when it's difficult. He doesn't manipulate her emotions or play games. He values her enough to be transparent. This kind of honesty builds a partnership instead of a performance. It creates clarity instead of confusion. When respect exists, both people can speak their truth and grow together. Respect also protects a relationship from unnecessary harm. Lust might lead to actions that create regret or hurt, but respect prevents them. Respect makes a man think before he acts. It makes him consider her feelings before making a decision that could damage her heart. Respect builds loyalty. It reduces temptation. It strengthens commitment. When a man respects a woman, he doesn't let a moment of desire destroy something meaningful. He chooses her well-being over his cravings. In the end, respect deepens love. It turns attraction into connection, desire into devotion, and moments into memories. Lust can start something, but respect sustains it. And when respect is present, everything else, love, intimacy, partnership, grows stronger and more meaningful. When a man discovers purpose, it becomes a force far more powerful than lust, temptation, or any impulse will him off course. Purpose gives a man direction, it gives his energy a destination, and his actions a meaning. A man without purposes is like a car with a full tank of gas but no steering wheel. He might move, but he's going nowhere. But once he decides what he stands for, what he's willing to work for, and what he refuses to compromise on, everything else starts to line up. Lust loses its grip because purpose gives him something greater to chase. It gives one a reason to say no to the wrong things and a reason to stay focused on the right ones. Purpose is a man's internal compass, the voice inside that says, "You were built for something bigger than this moment." A purposeful man carries himself differently. He doesn't drift. He doesn't wake up wondering what the day will be. He wakes up deciding what he'll make of it. Purpose wakes him before the alarm clock. Purpose keeps him sober when distractions come knocking. Purpose makes him loyal, disciplined, and dependable. It sharpens his vision so he can see beyond the temporary thrill and focus on the long-term value. Lust can only offer a few minutes of excitement, but purpose offers decades of fulfillment. Lust fades the moment it's satisfied, but purpose grows stronger every time it's pursued. And when a man understands that difference, he becomes a stronger version of himself. With purpose, a man becomes harder to manipulate. He becomes harder to tempt because he knows what he risks losing. He knows what he's building. He knows who's counting on him. Lust whispers, "This won't matter," but purpose reminds him that everything matters. Every choice, every step, every opportunity to do better matters because it shapes the future he's creating. A man with purpose realizes he's not just living for today. He's building a legacy. He's shaping how he'll be remembered. He's crafting a life he can be proud of. Purpose gives a man power over himself, not over others, over himself. The greatest strength a man can have is the strength to control his impulses. Anybody can give in. Anybody can chase what looks good for the moment. But it takes a man with vision to walk away from temporary pleasure and keep moving toward long-term greatness. Purpose teaches patience. Purpose teaches endurance. Purpose teaches a man how to be responsible with his emotions, his desires, and his decisions. That self-control becomes a shield against the kind of mistakes that can cost him his family, his dreams, or his reputation. Purpose also transforms the way a man loves. When he knows who he is and what he's striving for, he becomes a better partner, a better leader, and a better protector. He stops chasing validation and starts offering value. He understands that real love requires consistency, not just chemistry, commitment, not just attraction. Lust can never teach him that. Only purpose can, because purpose pushes him to rise above his impulses and become the man he was created to be. There is a force that's a man's decisions long after the fire of lust burns out, a force far deeper than physical desire, far stronger than moment attraction, and far more enduring than temporary excitement. This force is the respect a man receives and the respect he feels he deserves. Respect is not flattery, it is not ego stroking, and it is not blind admiration. It is the quiet assurance that a man matters, that his efforts mean something, that who he is and what he is striving to become has value in the eyes of the people closest to him. A man may be tempted by lust, but he will build, sacrifice, and grow for respect. Lust pulls him for a moment, respect anchors him for a lifetime. When a man feels respected, he operates differently. He carries himself with a sense of responsibility, with a desire to be better today than he was yesterday. Respect pushes him to rise above excuses, distractions, and insecurities. It awakens the part of him that wants to protect, provide, and lead with integrity. A respected man becomes a better thinker, a more disciplined worker, and a more committed partner. Respect activates the builder in him. Lust might excite him, but respect elevates him. Respect is felt in the way someone listens to him, not as though his words are noise to push past, but as though his thought process matters. It is felt when someone supports his dreams, not necessarily by understanding every detail, but by believing he is capable of achieving them. It is felt when his effort is acknowledged, not praised constantly, but recognized genuinely. Every man, no matter how tough or confident he appears, carries silent battles and private doubts. Respect gives him to face those battles without feeling alone. Many relationships falter because people underestimate this truth. They assume men are driven primarily by pleasure, but pleasure is shallow, inconsistent, and easily replaced. What actually determines where a man invests his time, heart, and loyalty is the environment that provides him dignity. A man will turn away from places where he feels belittled, criticized constantly, or dismissed. But he will stay, commit, and grow those spaces where he is treated with honor. Respect feeds his commitment, disrespect starves it. This is why respect is powerful, not just for the man, but for anyone who hopes to build something meaningful with him. When people show a man respect, they are not just affirming who he is today, they are empowering who he is capable of becoming tomorrow. A respected man becomes more consistent, more loving, more dependable, and more emotionally open. He feels safe enough to reveal his weaknesses and motivated enough to strengthen his character. Respect molds him into a partner who listens deeper, tries harder, and loves fuller. Respect is not about making a man feel superior. It is about making him feel valued. It is about recognizing his humanity, his effort, and his potential. When respect is present, a man does not just desire connection. He becomes devoted to building it. Discipline is one of the greatest forces shaping a man's destiny, far more powerful than the fleeting pull of lust or the temporary thrill of impulse. Discipline is the quiet, often unseen strength that separates a man who simply reacts to life from a man who intentionally builds one. When a man develops discipline, he develops the ability to pause, to evaluate, to choose the long term over the short-lived, and to honor his values even when his emotions or temptations beg him to do otherwise. Lust is loud, urgent, and impatient, but discipline is steady, consistent, and rooted in self-respect. A man who understands discipline is a man who understands his own power. Lou